It is 3 in the morning, your eyes snap open. Your heart is already pounding. Your mind is racing, money, that conversation you cannot undo, something you forgot at work. You are drenched in sweat or shivering under the covers. And deep down, you already know. You will not fall back asleep. If this sounds like your life, you are not alone. Millions of women past 45 go through this every single night. And almost all of them have been told the same thing. It is stress, it is anxiety, it is just menopause. As if giving it a label somehow explains why your body fires you awake at exactly 3 in the morning. Nobody actually tells you why your body jolts you awake at 3 in the morning. There is a specific reason for that, and nobody is telling you what it is. I am Dr. Grace Harper. I have spent over 25 years working with women in the thick of hormonal change, and I have sat across from thousands of patients describing these exact symptoms. 3 biological systems are colliding inside your body during those early morning hours. And once you see how they connect, the solution becomes obvious. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what is happening inside your body at 3 a.m. Then we'll walk through 5 targeted, science-supported interventions that address each part of the problem. These are not the recycled sleep tips you have heard 1,000 times. I'm showing you precise tools matched to the hormonal sleep disruption that hits women after 45. Now, let me explain what is actually happening inside your body. There are 3 systems converging at the same time to drag you out of sleep. When you understand all 3, the 5 interventions I'm about to give you will make perfect sense, because each one targets a specific part of this chain. The first system is cortisol. Your adrenal glands pump out cortisol on a 24-hour cycle. It drops to its lowest point around midnight and begins climbing somewhere between 3 and 4 in the morning. It peaks roughly 30 minutes after you wake up. Researchers call that spike the cortisol awakening response. Think of it as your body's built-in alarm clock, gently nudging you toward wakefulness so you can start your day. Here is where things go wrong. Estrogen plays a direct role in regulating the HPA axis. That is the command chain connecting your brain to your adrenal glands and controlling how much cortisol gets released. When estrogen declines during perimenopause and menopause, that command chain loses its calibration. The cortisol surge arrives too soon, hits too hard, and ramps up too fast. Instead of a soft nudge at 6 or 7 in the morning, it detonates at 2 or 3. That is the racing heart. That is the sudden dread. That is the wide-awake, wired feeling at an hour when your body belongs in deep, restorative sleep. Data from the Seattle Midlife Women's Health Study confirmed that cortisol was markedly elevated in women during the late menopausal transition, and those elevated levels tracked directly with worse night waking, more intense hot flashes, and greater joint pain. Picture it this way: cortisol is your morning alarm. Estrogen used to keep that alarm set to the correct time. Now that estrogen is pulling back, the alarm fires hours early, and the volume dial is jammed on maximum. The second system is blood sugar. When you eat dinner around 7 and go to bed at 10, your blood sugar steadily declines through the night. Normally, your liver compensates by releasing stored glucose to keep levels stable while you sleep. But hormonal shifts during perimenopause change how your body handles insulin. Many women develop a subtle form of insulin resistance and never realize it. That means overnight blood sugar management becomes unreliable. When glucose dips too low in the early hours, your body treats it as an emergency. It floods the bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline to force sugar levels back up. That is a second detonator for the 3 a.m. wake. And it explains why some women bolt upright in a panic even though nothing frightening happened. The blood sugar drop and the cortisol surge frequently land at the same moment, feeding off each other. Your liver is meant to act like a backup power supply, quietly keeping the lights on overnight. But as your hormones shift, that generator starts to falter. When it stalls at 3 in the morning, your body slams the emergency switch. Adrenaline, cortisol, fully awake. The third system is body temperature. Estrogen helps maintain something called the thermoneutral zone. That is the narrow band of core body temperature where your system feels comfortable. In a healthy hormonal state, that band is wide enough that small temperature fluctuations do not register. When estrogen drops, the thermoneutral zone shrinks dramatically. Tiny shifts that your body once ignored now set off full-blown heat-dumping responses. Night sweats, flushing, then chills once the sweat cools. These vasomotor episodes cluster in the same early morning window when cortisol is spiking and blood sugar is crashing. Over 75% of women during the menopausal transition experience hot flashes, and research has confirmed that women with more severe hot flashes tend to carry significantly higher cortisol levels, proving these are not three separate complaints. They are interconnected arms of the same underlying disruption. Think of your internal thermostat. It used to tolerate a comfortable range, say 18 to 22 degrees. Now it only accepts a sliver, 19.5 to 20.5. Any shift outside that razor-thin window triggers a full-scale response: sweating, flushing, shivering. And that response yanks you out of sleep. Most people think the 3 a.m. wake is caused by stress or poor sleep habits. In reality, it is one problem: hormonal dysregulation, expressing itself through 3 body systems at the same time. Mainstream advice treats each one separately. Take something for hot flashes, take something for anxiety, take something for sleep. But fragmented solutions cannot fix a connected problem. The 5 interventions I am about to walk you through each target a distinct piece of this mechanism, and together they address the full picture. Let us start with number 1. If you only act on a single thing from this entire video, let it be this. Number 1. Magnesium glycinate. Your nervous system is stuck in high alert. Estrogen used to support GABA, the neurotransmitter responsible for calming your brain and signaling safety. As estrogen fades, GABA activity falls, and your nervous system tilts toward a permanent state of activation. That is why you feel wired at bedtime despite being bone-tired. Your muscles ache with exhaustion. Your brain refuses to power down. Magnesium glycinate is a chelated form in which magnesium is bonded to glycine, an amino acid that is itself a calming neurotransmitter. You get a dual benefit. Magnesium supports over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including nervous system regulation, muscle relaxation, and cortisol modulation. Glycine independently promotes calm and has been shown to lower core body temperature, which directly helps with the thermoneutral zone collapse we just discussed. Studies on glycine supplementation have demonstrated measurable improvements in subjective sleep quality and significant reductions in next-day fatigue. Magnesium deficiency is widespread among older adults and has been consistently linked to insomnia, anxiety, muscle cramps, and restless legs. All of these are common complaints during menopause, and many women never connect them to a single mineral shortfall. The glycinate form has superior absorption compared to oxide or citrate and does not upset the stomach. Here is where so many women go wrong. They buy magnesium oxide from the supermarket shelf. Oxide has one of the poorest absorption rates of any form, as low as 4%. You take it, your body absorbs almost nothing, and most of it runs straight through your digestive tract. That is why it causes loose stools. The form matters just as much as the dose. For sleep and nervous system support, you want glycinate specifically. Take 300 to 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium as glycinate 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Dissolve a powder form in warm water and drink it as a nightly ritual. The warmth and the routine both reinforce your body's wind-down process. Take it at the same time every evening to build that sleep association. Many women notice a shift within the first 3 to 5 nights. Falling asleep feels easier. Muscle cramps ease. There is a subjective sense of settling that was not there before. Full effects on overall sleep quality tend to build across 2 to 4 weeks of steady use. If you have been buying magnesium oxide and wondering why nothing changed, comment glycinate below. Said that one swap could transform your nights. Now let us move to number 2, because this one goes after the alarm clock that is dragging you awake at 3 in the morning. Number 2 is ashwagandha. The 3 a.m. cortisol surge is the primary driver of the racing heart, the anxiety spiral, and the inability to fall back asleep. Your body is dumping a stress hormone at an hour when you should be locked in deep restorative sleep. You cannot think your way past a hormonal flood. You need something that takes the edge off the spike. Ashwagandha is classified as an adaptogen, a compound that helps your body regulate its own stress response. It operates primarily on the HPA axis, the very same system governing cortisol release. The most researched extract is called KSM-66. Its active compounds, known as withanolides, help reduce the size of cortisol spikes without shutting cortisol down entirely. You still get the natural daily rhythm, you just lose the 3 a.m. explosion. Multiple randomized controlled trials have demonstrated that ashwagandha supplementation lowers serum cortisol compared to placebo. One trial documented significant drops in stress and anxiety scores alongside measurable cortisol reductions over 8 weeks. Separate research focused specifically on sleep showed improvements in both sleep quality and the time it takes to fall asleep. A common error is taking ashwagandha only in the morning. If your problem is a cortisol detonation at 3 a.m., you need the compound active in your system overnight. An evening dose is essential. The second mistake is grabbing a generic ashwagandha root powder capsule off the shelf. Without checking the extract type, you may end up with far fewer active withanolides than the clinical trials used. Look for KSM-66 or Sensoril. Those are the two forms the science is actually built on. Take 300 to 600 milligrams of KSM-66 with your evening meal or 1 to 2 hours before bed. It is fat-soluble, so food improves absorption. Some women split the dose, 300 milligrams in the morning for daytime resilience and 300 milligrams in the evening for the overnight spike. See what your body responds to. Adaptogens are not sedatives. They do not knock you out on night 1. Effects accumulate over 2 to 4 weeks as your HPA axis recalibrates. Most women find the 3 a.m. waking either becomes less frequent or less jarring within 3 to 4 weeks. By 8 weeks, the full cortisol moderating effect is typically locked in. If you have tried melatonin and it failed you, here is why. Melatonin helps you fall asleep. Well, it does not touch cortisol. Your problem was never falling asleep. It was staying asleep. Different mechanism, different solution. Comment cortisol if that distinction just landed for you. Before we continue, if any of this is opening your eyes, please tap the like button so more women can find this information. And subscribe for more health tips. Every like tells the algorithm to put this in front of someone else who is lying awake tonight and has no idea why. Number 3 is tart cherry juice. This one sounds almost too straightforward to work, but clinical evidence backs it up, and you can find it in your local supermarket right now. Melatonin is the hormone controlling your sleep-wake cycle. It climbs in the evening to make you drowsy and remains elevated overnight to keep you asleep. As estrogen declines, melatonin production takes a hit because estrogen influences the enzymes involved in melatonin synthesis. Many perimenopausal and menopausal women are running on lower melatonin levels than they had a decade ago and have no idea. Montmorency tart cherries are one of the only natural food sources of melatonin, but they also deliver tryptophan, a building block your body converts into melatonin, along with proanthocyanidins, compounds that block the enzyme responsible for breaking tryptophan down. So tart cherry juice works on 3 fronts simultaneously. Direct melatonin, more raw material for melatonin production, and slower breakdown of that raw material. It is a gentle, food-based strategy rather than a synthetic supplement, which many women find either too heavy or completely ineffective. Clinical studies in older adults found that those drinking tart cherry juice twice daily for 2 weeks experienced meaningfully better sleep duration and quality. Measurable increases in urinary melatonin metabolites confirmed that the juice genuinely elevates melatonin levels in the body. Watch out for sweetened cherry juice or cherry drink. The added sugar will spike your blood sugar before bed, directly sabotaging the overnight stability you need for unbroken sleep. You want unsweetened Montmorency, tart cherry concentrate, not cherry cocktail. And time it properly. About 1 hour before bed is ideal. Take 30 milliliters, roughly 2 tablespoons, of unsweetened tart cherry concentrate diluted in a small glass of water, approximately 1 hour before bed. Some women combine it with their magnesium powder for a single bedtime drink. Stick with the Montmorency variety specifically. That is the one the clinical research was conducted on. Some women notice improved sleep onset within the first few nights. The full melatonin supporting effect generally builds across 1 to 2 weeks of nightly use. Because it is a food rather than a pharmaceutical, the benefits are gradual and cumulative. Now let's talk about number 4, the blood sugar stabilization protocol. This is the one that catches everyone off guard. You have been told never to eat before bed, but for the 3 a.m. wake, a precise type of pre-bed snack may be the single most effective step on this entire list. Go back to the blood sugar crash we discussed. Your liver flooding you with adrenaline and cortisol at 3 a.m. because glucose fell too low. If you ate dinner at 7 and nothing afterward, by 3 in the morning your body has been fasting for roughly 8 hours. For a woman whose insulin sensitivity has shifted with age, that is long enough for blood sugar to slip below the threshold that trips the emergency cortisol alarm. The answer is not a heavy meal at bedtime. It is a small, deliberate snack engineered to give your liver a slow-burning fuel source that lasts until morning. The key is pairing protein with fat and keeping carbohydrates to a minimum. Protein supplies amino acids that your liver gradually converts into glucose overnight through a process called gluconeogenesis. Fat slows digestion, stretching the energy release window. Together, they prevent the overnight blood sugar valley without triggering an insulin spike before bed. This runs directly counter to the conventional rule about not eating after 8 p.m., advice that was designed for weight management, not for hormonal sleep disruption. The science behind nocturnal blood sugar drops and the resulting cortisol and adrenaline release is well-established endocrinology. While most formal studies center on diabetic populations, the underlying mechanism applies to anyone with compromised overnight glucose regulation, and that includes a large number of perimenopausal women developing early insulin resistance. The biggest mistake is reaching for a carbohydrate-heavy snack before bed. Toast, crackers, fruit, biscuits. These spike your blood sugar, trigger an insulin surge, and then crash harder 2 to 3 hours later, making the 3 a.m. wake worse, not better. The snack must be dominated by protein and fat with minimal sugar. The second pitfall is eating too much. This is not a meal. Think of it as a metabolic buffer, 100 to 150 calories at most. 30 to 60 minutes before bed, eat one of these. A small handful of almonds or walnuts, a tablespoon of almond butter on a celery stick, a hard-boiled egg, a small piece of cheese, half an avocado with a pinch of salt. Keep it simple, keep it small, keep it centered on protein and fat. No bread, no crackers, no fruit, no sugar. This one delivers results fast. Many women see a difference the very first night, either sleeping straight through the 3 a.m. window or waking briefly but falling back asleep without the usual hour-long battle. Within a week of consistent use, you will know whether blood sugar was a major player in your sleep disruption. If you have been jolting awake at 3 with a pounding heart and never once considered blood sugar as the culprit, comment blood sugar below. This is one of the least discussed and most immediately fixable causes of the menopausal 3 a.m. wake. Number 5 is glycine. I saved this one for last because it addresses the mechanism that almost no one is covering, and it may be the final piece that lets you sleep from dark to dawn. Night sweats are not merely uncomfortable. They are a thermoregulation breakdown. Your body is overheating because the thermoneutral zone has collapsed, and the only way it can dump excess heat is through your skin. You wake up drenched, then the sweat evaporates and you're shivering. This cycle can repeat several times in a single night, and each episode rips you out of the deep restorative sleep your brain and body desperately need. Cooling core body temperature is one of the most powerful strategies for stopping this cycle, and most women have never heard that a common amino acid can do precisely that. Glycine acts on receptors in the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your brain's master clock, to promote widening of blood vessels in your hands and feet. This shunts heat from the core to the surface, dropping core body temperature. That drop is one of the primary physiological triggers for both falling asleep and staying asleep. Glycine essentially helps your body accomplish what it is struggling to do on its own, release heat efficiently, and hold a stable core temperature until morning. A clinical trial gave participants 3 grams of glycine before bed and recorded improvements in subjective sleep quality, lower next-day fatigue, and sharper cognitive performance the following morning. Sleep lab data showed that glycine shortened the time needed to reach slow-wave sleep, the deepest and most restorative stage. RN stabilized overall sleep structure. Critically, these effects came without sedation. Participants did not feel drugged or foggy. They simply slept more deeply and more consistently. What makes glycine particularly interesting is that 3 grams is a relatively small dose of a naturally occurring amino acid, yet it produced measurable changes on polysomnography, which is the gold standard of sleep measurement. That is a strong signal that the thermoregulatory pathway is a real and undertreated driver of broken sleep in this population. A frequent error is underdosing. The effective amount in the research is 3 grams, roughly 1 level teaspoon of powder. Many people try 500 milligrams or a gram and feel nothing because they never reach the threshold that shifts thermoregulation. Also, do not confuse standalone glycine with the glycine inside magnesium glycinate. They are chemically related. Magnesium glycinate contains glycine bonded to magnesium, but pure glycine at 3 grams targets the temperature regulation pathway far more directly. Dissolve 3 grams, about 1 level teaspoon, of glycine powder in warm water 30 to 60 minutes before bed. It has a faintly sweet taste and mixes easily. Many women stir it into the same mug as their magnesium glycinate for a combined nervous system and thermoregulation protocol. Capsule form works too if you prefer. Effects can appear within the first few nights, especially a noticeable drop in night sweat intensity and frequency. The full thermoregulatory benefit typically locks in across 1 to 2 weeks of steady nightly use. If night sweats are the primary reason you keep waking, glycine targets the precise mechanism behind them. Comment, cool down if you are adding this to your bedtime routine. Now let me pull all of this together for you. You are not an insomniac. You do not have an anxiety disorder that appeared out of nowhere. You are a woman whose body is navigating a profound hormonal transition, and that transition has destabilized 3 systems: cortisol regulation, blood sugar stability, and temperature control that all collide at the same hour in the early morning. Now you understand why, and now you have 5 specific tools to address each one. Here is the order I recommend. 60 to 90 minutes before bed, have your small protein and fat snack. 60 minutes before bed, drink your tart cherry concentrate diluted in water. Take your ashwagandha with your evening meal or around that same 60-minute window. Then 30 minutes before bed, combine your magnesium glycinate and glycine in a mug of warm water. The total monthly cost for everything sits around 25 to 40 pounds. That is less than most women spend on coffee. In terms of timing, the blood sugar snack may show results on night 1. Magnesium and glycine often produce a noticeable sense of calm and warmth redistribution within the first few days. Tart cherry juice builds its melatonin support across the first 1 to 2 weeks. Ashwagandha takes the longest, 2 to 4 weeks, for the cortisol recalibration to kick in fully. By week 4 to 8, you should feel the cumulative shift: deeper stretches of sleep, fewer night sweats, less middle-of-the-night panic. A better energy and clearer thinking during the day as a downstream reward. You do not have to launch everything at once. Tonight, try the blood sugar snack. It costs nothing, and many women feel the difference immediately. Add the bedtime drink, magnesium plus glycine, this week. Layer in the rest over the coming 2 to 4 weeks. Give your body the time it needs to respond. One last thing, please do not assume this is permanent and that nothing can be done. The menopause transition is exactly that, a transition. It is not a life sentence. Sleep disruption is your body reacting to a shifting hormonal landscape, and that reaction can be supported, cushioned, and significantly improved with the right targeted steps. These are not permanent rewirings of your brain. They are temporary disturbances to a system that can be steadied again. Sally, the version of you who sleeps through the night, who wakes up rested, who has the energy to be present for the people and the life you care about, she starts with the choices you make this week. Comment 3 a.m. if this video finally explains something about your sleep that nobody else has. And tell me, which of the 5 interventions are you going to try first? I read every comment, and your experience might be exactly what another woman needs to hear tonight. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself. I will see you in the next video.